Hi, welcome everyone to Accounting Firms Beyond the Books, your guide to financial reporting in Odoo. My name is Bridget Bolaños. Feel free to call me Bree. I am the Accounting Relationship Manager for our accounting firm program. And then here with me is my colleague Odd,
Hi,
an
everyone.
accounting expert, which will be walking us through the Beyond the Books, meaning different reporting in accounting and dynamic reporting. But before we get into the technical stuff, let's review some fun events that we have coming up for accounting firms. So, the first one is a happy hour that we have on September 1st here in the San Francisco office for any accounting firms or accounting service providers, bookkeepers within the San Francisco Bay Area for us to join. We love to see you there. We love to hang out with you, network. It's just going to be a fun evening for us to get to know each other. And another event that is coming up is actually the day after, September 2nd and September 3rd. We have Odoo Experience. So feel free to scan the QR code and RSVP for the two events. We'll have them also at the end of the presentation. In this event in particular, we will dive in more into Odoo and the different features, including our latest version, 20. With that being said, if you are an accounting firm already in our program, feel free to email us if you have any questions or need for support. If you're not an accounting firm already in our program, still email us. We want to hear from you. And in our program, you will get exclusive resources such as webinars such as this one and other great benefits such as technical support with our technical experts. And as I transition into the next slide, if you want to schedule a one-on-one with me, feel free to scan this QR code. And that way I can connect with you, talk about the program, also help you if you're already part of the program with any administrative needs. But now let's go into the technical part, Odd.
Yes. Thank you for the introduction, Bree. And welcome everybody to the webinar regarding Beyond the Books, your guide to financial reporting in Odoo. Well, financial reporting is something that we all use every day, but sometimes it's not clear which kind of report should we use. So that's why we're hosting this webinar. So today we will cover the default financial reports that are already available in Odoo. But if you want to go a step further, we will show you how we can customize your report. So for example, you can create a report that you include in a spreadsheet, and you can add some columns as well, and so you can optimize your financial data. Okay. Today I will be using a sample database to have some data, but don't hesitate to ask me any questions about the configuration if you want to know more about it. Also, if you have other questions during the presentation, don't hesitate to add all your questions in the pad, and then we will tackle all the questions after the presentation. Okay, well, let's get started and dive directly into the database. So what you can see here is now a database where I only installed the accounting application. So let's open the accounting application and let's go directly to the different kinds of tabs that you have here. The first thing that we're going to tackle today are the default reports, as I just discussed. And we're going to look at our tab review here. Okay. So first thing that you need to do with your bookkeeping is to review everything. So if you click on the review, you can see different sections, the control and the audit. We're going to first focus on the control. So you can see here the journal items. This gives you an overview of everything that has been booked in Odoo. So yeah, this is the biggest data that you can find is always here. Later, we're going to see in the second part how you can customize this report by using the filters. Okay, but now only focus on the standardized reports, the default reports that you can find in Odoo. Well, under the review, you can also find your journal audit. Your journal audit is specifically a report that is grouped by all your different journals and all your impacted accounts as well. Okay. First of all, you can see here some filters. If you want to filter on a specific date, you just click on the date here. If you want to see, for example, everything per quarter, you simply select per quarter, but I don't have a lot of data in here, so I'm just gonna select the fiscal year 2026. And then we have a tab here, the posted entries. If you want to have everything unfolded, you simply click on the fold everything, and you can also select all the draft entries if you want. Okay. In this case, I'm just going to fold everything, and I'm going to leave draft entries as it is. So now you see all the different accounts that are used per journal. So this gives you actually a great overview. of all the accounts per journal, but it helps also you to detect, okay, if the right accounts are being used. For example, if we open accounts, telephone and internet, then we can see here, okay, those accounts are used for those different bills, and you can see also directly the bill in here. Let's scroll down here, and then we see, okay, those different accounts that I've used. If this is, for example, not the right account, then I simply select those two accounts, and then I click on account as here. And I can search for another account. For example, the accounts, let's just take a random account, office expenses, for example. And then you get a pop-up. Are you sure you want to update to records in mass? In this case, I'm just going to say yes, update. So now the accounts are updated. So instead of opening every bill again, resetting to draft, you can just change it in mass in the view of the journal audit. And on top of that, you also can see here the changement in your chatter. So everything is always logged. So for example, my colleague Denise, she booked the invoice and I made a change. Okay? So if you're working closely with your client in Odoo, then you will always have your audit log here. So no discussions later who did what. Let's go back to the accounts here. Yeah, we can see, okay, the accounts are not linked anymore to this view. And then you can do the same for your sales, for example. You can see here, okay, the account product sales, and voila. Same for your bank journal. But also something really interesting is here your global tax summary. So now we can see the taxes that are applied on the different amounts. So if you want to have an overview of it, you simply click on it and then you can see if it's correct or not. Just like that. If you want to print this overview, you can simply click on the overview print and then you can print it in PDF if you click on the button print, or you can also create an Excel if you want, or copy to the documents so you can add a spreadsheet, use a spreadsheet rather. So this one was the first review option that you have in Odoo. Let's move on to the next one. There's a lot of topics left. So if you go to the review, you also find a section audit. So if you're, for example, closing your year, then you can use your working file as a specific working file or an audit file rather. And then you can create your working file by clicking on the new. So if you're, for example, you want to have an overview of everything that has been booked in 2026 until, let's say, June 26, so your mid-year end closing, then you can first, I can also type it actually, but okay, 30 September, so 6 months. Okay, so an audit file, it gives you different things to verify. And so depending on the cycle that you choose here, let's just choose equity, fixed assets, government we're going to skip because we don't like government. And then we can change some things here. Yeah, let's just say that is. And then we're going to generate a return. So now, based on the cycles that I just have chosen, you will see different review options here. It's different things that you need to review rather. So for example, for your equity, one of those checks is allocation of prior result to equity. That's something you need to review. So you can say, if you have reviewed it, simply, okay, it's reviewed. So equity, and then for example, an interesting one is your fixed assets. So Odoo, the check that you can see here is asset movement and accounting treatment. So it identifies acquisitions, disposals, and whatever. So once you click here, you will receive a pop-up of your depreciation schedule, and then you can unfold everything and review it like this. Okay. And then you can simply say, okay, it's also reviewed. And if we go now, maybe one more check, fixed asset review, for example, we click on that, and now we will see all your different impacted accounts. So all the accounts, all the fixed asset accounts, you will find directly here. So here you can see your furniture and fixtures, and then also on the right, your audit trail. So you can even add a note if you want. I can text someone, or I can just say, OK, reviewed, blah, blah, blah. I can even add some details if I want by clicking the paper clip and log it. Okay. And all the notes that I write directly here, you will also see in your balance sheet. That's something that we will see later. So that was it for the working file. If you have done everything, you don't want to do checks manually, you can simply say, okay, mark as completed, and then it will go away. Same for order 25, mark it as completed, and then it's gone. Next to the working file, you also have an annual report. That's something new that we have added in version 19.4. bit earlier, 19.3. So if you click on your annual report, I already created an annual report to save some time. Just let's check it out. So you can see here your annual report. Yeah, like a basic annual report. That's also something that we talked about previous webinar, so I'm not gonna go too deep in it, but you can just see how it looks and you can customize it yourself. This is just a template. You can also create some templates if you want and search for templates. So just like that. Well, the next thing that I want to explain is the audit trail. Something that's also really important. So to have an overview of everything that has been done in Odoo. For example, we're gonna have an audit of 2026, then we filter here on 2026, and then you can, for example, group by the author. So if you want to have an overview of everything that everybody did in Odoo, in the day 2026, you group by author, and then you can also group by dates per month, for example, and then you can see, okay, this month in August, I did this kind of things. So I can just open it and I can click on it and then I will see directly what I did actually. Okay. Well, that was it for the review side. Now we're going to pass by the reporting side. First of all, we're going to check some default reports, like for example, your balance sheet. We all know the balance sheet. If you're an accountant, you all know the balance sheet. I hope so. So let's check the balance sheet. So the balance sheet that you can see here, you can also optimize it. So first of all, you can select the dates. For example, fiscal year end date 2026, or just filter on a specific quarter or a month. That's the same that we saw before. Or you can also add a specific date. Next, you can also make a comparison. So you can make a comparison of previous periods. For example, you want to make a comparison with previous year to see how you're doing, how the numbers are. So just like that. Or also something new is that you can make a comparison as a percentage of, for example, your assets. So if you want to see, for example, the bank and cash, how much percentage is it regarding to your assets? So in this case, bank and cash is 4.3% of my assets. So that's something that we added and it's really interesting, as I think myself. And then, yeah, here you have the same. So you can post it, you can click on the posted entries, you can unfold everything so you have a better overview. You can even hide the lines at 0.
Interesting.
So that you only see the impacted amounts and not the 0 amounts. And then you can also say, let's split it horizontally. So you have like your balance sheet like this. So voilà, different kinds of options. Okay. So that's for the balance sheets. Here you have again your print option or your option to copy the documents, copy it in Excel, whatever you want. Okay. Let's go back to our normal view here. If you, for example, don't like the view here and you want to optimize things a little bit more, you want to see your inventory valuation before your bank suspense account, then there is a handy trick that you can do. So first of all, I'm going to the configuration, to my settings, and I'm going to activate my developer mode. That means that I will have some extra rights as a developer actually. So I'm just going to edit and I will show it to you how it works. If I go back to my reporting balance sheet, you will now see here a setting pop up, button of your settings. So once I click on that, you can see, okay, instead of seeing my bank and cash first, I can just replace it with this. Then you have another view. So this is a bit more advanced. This is also a bit more customized, but I'm just showing to you that you have those options as well. Also for the calculation, if you click on a current asset, you can see here a specific formula. Okay. I recommend not to play too much with the formulas because once you change something, it's really difficult to go back to the report that you had before. So only play with it when you know exactly what you're doing. But to switch the different tabs here, you can change it. Okay. Well, next to the balance sheet, we have, of course, our profit and loss. It looks a bit similar as a balance sheet, so I'm not going to go too deep in it. So here you have again your comparison. So you can make a percentage of your income, of a percentage of everything, just like the way you can do it in your balance sheet. Okay. Maybe one more thing that I want to explain is your budget here. So if you want to make a forecast, for example, for 2027, or just a budget for a specific month, for the next month before, for example, you just put 2026 and then you can create a budget. Just like this. Okay, maybe we can unfold everything here. So now you will see 2026, and if I want to create a budget, I simply can add an amount. And then you will see that the budget has been created. Okay, that's not really a great amount, but whatever. Okay, so that was it for the profit and loss. And then for the rest, what were we going to tackle today? Yeah, you have your trial balance, your general ledger. That's pretty common. With the same as your balance sheet and profit loss, the same filter. So I'm not going to too deep in it. But then you have also your partner reports. And for example, your partner ledger. This is a really handy report. If you want to have an overview of all your outstanding payables and all your outstanding receivables per partner, then this is the best report to use. Okay. First of all, you have here again your dates. So you can see here, okay, fiscal year is 2026. But also you see here a button open on. So if you want to, let's first click it open. If you want to have an overview of everything that's still open in 2025, then you can simply add the date 2025 just like this, and then your fiscal year 2026. So this will give you an overview of everything that's still open. Oh, I clicked a little bit too fast. Still open in 2026, but it's related to 2025. Okay. And now I can filter everything open. I did it the other way around, sorry. It needs to put open in 2026. I'm just gonna do it to show you. So what is still open in 2026 and it's related to the fiscal year 2025. Okay, so this gives you an overview of all the outstanding payables, outstanding receivables in 2025, but yeah, still open in 2026, if that makes sense. Let's go back to 2026. And then for the rest, you have also other options. So for example, you want to filter, you only want to see the receivables or you only want to see the payables, you just filter on that. Okay. Or you want to search for a specific partner, then you just choose a partner that you see here. A partner is basically a vendor or a customer. That's a general word that we use for the vendors or customers. You can also just search in the search bar here. If you're searching for a specific partner and you're not sure how to type it, then you type Abigail, and then you will also find everything with Abigail. Okay, I'm going to do it this way. And then for the rest, yeah, same thing here, posted entries. You can unfold everything. You can see the draft entries as well. So nothing special here. But then something new here is different reviews, different report views. So now my partner ledger is open. So I have an overview of my outstanding receipts, receivables and payables in this view. But you can also create a customer statement if you click on the customer statement. Okay, so this gives you another view actually. And you will also receive this pop-up, their unposted journal entries. So you can also click directly on that and book your journal entries. Okay. Or you can also filter on open items just to see what is still open. So for example, we have here some invoices that are still open, that are still not paid. My client Alabama. So you can see a remaining balance, so you can send a reminder to that specific client. Okay. And then here again, you have also your settings in the developer mode if you want to change some things. But I recommend not changing anything actually here because this report is already quite good. Well, let me check if I can show you another report. Maybe, yeah, let's show you the invoice analysis report. So here you can see now an overview of everything that you have sold to all your different clients, for example. If you don't like this view, you can also just go to your pivot table. Okay. In this pivot table, now we're going a little bit more customized. So that's something I will also explain later, but I'm just going to give you a small introduction right now. So here you can, for example, filter, in this case, the customers are filtered on. If you want to have an overview of all your customers on the left side, then you select the partner. So now you see all your customers. If you then want to have an overview per date, so everything that you have sold to all your customers per date, for example, per quarter, then you just simply click on quarter. So this gives you an overview of, for example, okay, in quarter 2, 18,000 was the revenue for IK Foster in quarter 2. Okay. So that was it for the reporting side, for the standardized reports that we have in Odoo. So now we're going a step further, and I'm going to show you how you can customize your reports. As I said in the beginning, we have the review. Under the review, we have the journal items. This gives you an overview of your whole bookkeeping. And then you're going to also see the filters right here. Okay. So, for example, if I want to have a customized report of only my P&L account that you can see here, I just select P&L accounts. So now you can see all the impacted journal items for only the P&L accounts. And then if I only want to see everything of 2026, I just select 2026. Okay. And then you can also see your button, the custom filter. Okay. So if you want to go a little bit more advanced, you want to customize things a little bit more, I can, for example, say, okay, I want to have an overview of all my different partners. If I go here, relation to follow, I can add some other fields as well. For example, I'm looking for all my partners. We have all my partners with an email address, or just all my partners with doesn't have an email address. I can just say it's not set. It means that you will now have a list. If I filter group by here again on partner, then you will see now, okay, now this is a list of all the specific partners, the vendors or the clients, where an email address has not been set yet. Okay, so you can just export these lists, and then you know, okay, for all those people, I need to call them and I need to add an email address, especially if I want to send an invoice to them. Okay, so specifically for the customers, for the vendors, it's less important. Okay, so that was just an example. What can we do next? So now I filled for P&L account, for my dates. So here you can see all your cost accounts. Maybe I can filter again on my accounts, for example. So you will see here all your impact accounts. Okay, not really necessary, but also something really handy that you can do in this view is to change the date. Okay, so if I look at my cost account, a cost impacted account of my cost, for example, then you'll see, okay, it's on the date 31/30. If I select everything, I can simply say, okay, the date is now 31, but if I want to carry it over till next year, so basically you need to have a filter of 25 and it's still remaining, so we can change those dates by this. So another really great example, but okay. So you can say, okay, the recognition date is in this case 1 January 2026. If you have, for example, now a date field on 2025, and then Odoo will create all those entries for you. If you can just add the accrued account. Just an example. It's also something new that we have added. Voila. That's it. You can also go to Nested if you want. Just briefly explained. Well, let's now go further to our customized report. Okay, so I already filled it on P&L account and on the dates. Now, we can also see here on the right different other options, different view options. For example, your pivot. Okay, so here we can see it's grouped by our journals, but if we don't want to have grouped it by our journals, you simply click on the total, and then you can say, let's group it by the account. So now we have all our different impact accounts grouped by month. Okay, if you don't want to have grouped it by month, same principle here, just click on the total, and then you can choose your filter yourself. For example, here on dates, let's say, let's group it by month or by quarter. Let's say quarter, for example. Okay, so this is a customized report that we just built ourselves. And then, of course, if you want to analyze things a little bit more, you want to add some columns, then you can simply click on the button Insert in Spreadsheet. So let's do that. Insert in Spreadsheet. You can give a pivot name. In this case, journal item by date. Journal item by, basically by date, why not? Let's keep it like that. And then we're going to say Insert. And now you can see that Odoo has created an Excel for me, and this spreadsheet is created in Odoo itself. So it's basically created in your Documents application. Okay.
Interesting.
So in the column G, I will add another column, for example, my budget. And then in my column H, I will add a variance to have the difference. So I can now add a budget, for example, here for product sales. I had a budget of 600,000, then other income 50,000. I'm just gonna write some random things. Maybe I can just drag it down like this, and I can also edit as a sum. So basically a bit the same as in Excel. Oh, my sum. Oh, not used to work with these keywords. Just like that. And this one we don't need. Yeah, you can play around a little bit with it, however you want.
But basically it works the same as an Excel in the same
Yeah.
formulas and things like that, right? Very
Indeed.
dynamic.
Okay, my keyboard is not really working, so I'm just going to ignore that. Or I can just simply go like this. It's maybe better. Just ignore this formula, but you can create a sum. Then you also have your variance, where you can just make the difference between the two, just to have an overview of yourself. Yeah, basically like in Excel. Okay. If you want to go a step further, you can even insert this specific spreadsheet in a chart. So if I click on chart here, you will see a chart. Some people like to read the chart, so that's something that you can use as well. Okay. The biggest advantage of the spreadsheet is that it's dynamic. So for example, if I create now a new invoice where I use account software, quarter 3, for example, then you will see that the amount will be added here. Okay, so let's test it out because I'm now saying it, but you want to make sure that's true. So I will create a new purchase bill by clicking on the button new. I'm just gonna select a random vendor. I'm gonna select the bill date, so quarter 3, that's now. And then I'm gonna add some amounts here. I'm gonna add a big amount just to make sure that we're gonna see it. So bill date is August, this quarter from now, 3, I think. Not in the mood to calculate, but let's go back to my documents application. And normally you will see here that a big amount has been changed here. Oh, I've chosen another account, but you will see it here. Okay, so it is basically dynamic. That was my point. So you can see it here. Maybe I should remember for next time the account that I've chosen. Okay. If this is, for example, a report that we will use every day, then you can even go a step further. How? Just by clicking on the file here on the left and add this report to your dashboard. So your dashboard is another application. It's an application where you put all your important documents. So in this case, I'm gonna name it financial reports X for inspiration. And then I'm gonna select the dashboard section. For example, just say finance. Okay. And now I'm gonna click on create, meaning that my report has been created. So we're still in our documents application, but actually we're in our dashboard as well. So this is a different application that you can use for adding all your different reports. So the financial report that I've just created, you can find here. You can even change name if you want, but basically you can find it here. And you can also, if you look at these reports and we click, for example, on the 5,000, then you can click further. You're like, oh, 5,000, that's not bad. That's a huge amount because we need to pay the amount. But then you can click further and then you can see, okay, it comes from this. So it gives you a great insight, especially for somebody who has not a lot of time to review everything. You just create a report and then you can see it here. Okay. Voila. That was really the idea behind the financial reporting in Odoo. So simple reports when you need them, and the flexibility to build your own reports when you need something more, for example.
Yeah. In dynamic reports, right? That they talk to each other. That's great.
Indeed.
Thank you, Anne. So remember to put your questions in the chat. If you already have put your questions, right now we're going to review them together and answer them. But if you haven't, this is the time to put them in the chat. So we have a couple questions already. The first one being, can you please show us how to reconcile in-payment invoices?
How we can reconcile the in-payment invoices. Let's go back to my database. The in-payment invoices, so the invoices that are still in payment. I'm not sure if I understand the question, but it's a question related to your bank reconciliation. So yeah, basically you can see here on your dashboard all the items that you need to reconcile, still need to reconcile. So you can see here in this case 52 items to reconcile. So then you're going to do the bank reconciliation yourself in here. But for example, if we can see here, let's take just one example, the superhuman platform. So that's a payment to a specific vendor. If you set here the partner, let's look for the superhuman. In this one, you can already see that it's one invoice related. Once you click on that, Odoo will automatically reconcile the item. Or you can just remove the bill and put this specific transaction on a payable account, for example, like this. And then if you go back to your reporting, in your partner ledger, so basically if the invoice, if you have received the payment, and you did the payment for the specific, for the specific thing that you just read about, then you can link it to a specific vendor. But if you don't have the invoice yet, then you can go to your reporting and to your partner ledger, search for the superhuman, and then you will see that it's still open, but that you have a payment linked to that account. Okay. And then you can say, let's reconcile it from here directly. I don't know if this was a question, but I assume.
Yeah, so it seems like we can see the reconcile invoices there and how
Yeah,
to reconcile both.
indeed.
We do have a second question. So the question is how to import the CBS bank statement. So how can we import
Yeah,
any dashboards or reports for in
yeah,
this specific
indeed.
currency?
Yeah, first of all, you can also choose to have your online, you can choose to synchronize your bank by creating a new bank journal, for example. Let's just create a new bank journal. So we can say, okay, bank, take some time, and then you can choose your different banks, for example. Okay, but if you don't want to make use of that and you just want to import your CSV, as the question was actually, then you can choose to, let's go to my bank and then to our different dots here and just say, okay, let's import a file. And then you can import your file. Okay. Or you can, basically import your file and then you can import your CSV file.
Perfect.
Or by here clicking on imports, and then you can see import, and then you can also receive a template for bank statement lines. So different kind of options to get your transactions in Odoo.
Awesome. And then we also have a question relating on how to transfer from a different Odoo accounting or a different software, in this case, QuickBooks to Odoo accounting.
Yeah.
We do provide services and help with this. So definitely connect with us and we'll be able to help you not only transfer some of that information, but also train you and your team in the Odoo accounting software. We do understand Odoo accounting is a little bit different, so we want to make sure that we support you with all the training materials. And if you join our program, you also get access to our Odoo accounting experts, such as Odd, and then you can schedule one-on-one time with them, and then they can help one-on-one with any needs that you might have.
Yeah, indeed. And we're also working on an integration tool, like API connection, to get all your data automatically in Odoo. Or you can also simply take an export of the data that you have now currently in Odoo. For example, you want to start with Odoo starting 1st of August. Then you take an export of all the data that you want to import in Odoo, and then you can just add it in your journal that you want. For example, your miscellaneous operations. You click on the action button here, and then you can say, let's import. And then you will see the template. So if you complete the template, you change the template of QuickBooks to the template that you can see here, then it's really easy to import your data. Okay, and the same you have, for example, for your open outstanding customer invoices. You click again here on the button import, and then you will see here the templates. So just if you use a template, it's really easy to get the data from QuickBooks to Odoo. Or as Bree just explained, we also help. We give assistance for the import.
Yes, definitely. We are here to help you. And we have a general question about how to import general lenders, or can we only carry over big balances? I think we can do both, correct? Aud?
Yeah, indeed. How can you import general letters or any care? we always recommend to not import historical data because you can also have your historical data in an Excel, for example, and store it somewhere else. But if you really want to import your historical data, then you can just, as I just explained, go to your journal where you want to import the data and import it by this. Okay. So you can do that, but we recommend not importing so much historical data. Or just the opening balance of the different years. That's also something that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But we can always assist that if you
Yeah.
need assistance with that.
Definitely, that is still an option, and we can assist with that.
Correct.
And then we have a question about how to record a new loan for the first time in Odoo and Excel. And yeah, so
If you want to add a new loan in Odoo, then you can go to your accounting and then to loans. Okay. Then you can choose to create a loan yourself, to create your loan by clicking the button new, or just, as I just explained, using a specific file, like a template file. But if you want to create your loan yourself, then we can simply click on loan, and then I'm going to say, let's test it. The amount that you have borrowed is, for example, 50,000. The interest amount was 5,000. And then you can see, okay, your loan date is, for example, 2 years ago or just October 7. The duration of your loan is 24 months, for example. You can even link an asset group. Okay. And now for the rest, we can just say, let's compute the information here. And then Odoo will create for you your asset table. Then you can simply review it. And if it's correct, you can apply it. Okay. But if you have already an asset, if you have already this table available, then you can better import it. Then you're sure that the numbers will be correct. One more thing here, you can change the computing method and the payments if it's end of the month or at anniversary. So different options as well in here. And then Odoo will create all your different entries as you can see here. You can just apply it and then you will see here. You can confirm it, but the loan account needs to be set as well. So first your long-term account, short-term account, and different kinds of accounts. Okay.
perfect. Thank you. And then we have another question about how can we prevent a gap between auto register and bank balances?
How to prevent the gap between auto register and bank balances? Well,
And we're loving these questions, by the way. Keep them coming.
yeah.
Feel free to put them in the chat. We love to interact with you guys and answer all your questions.
I think your question is related to the balance that you can see here. So I'm not sure if I've understood the question correctly, but normally your balance that you see here needs to be aligned with the balance that you have in your bank. If that's not the case, yeah, then you need to have a look at your transactions and see if every transaction has been imported correctly. Maybe there was something wrong with your opening balance. Maybe you didn't add your opening balance as you can see here. But normally the balance that you can see here should be matched with the balance that you have in your bank. Okay.
I see. And if you're having any issues with the reporting or the setup of the accounting, definitely contact us. We want to help you and we can set up that one-on-one time. Yeah. So feel free to continue asking questions and put them in the chat. We have another question related to how can we see the budget option and how does it work? I know you showed us a little bit of the budget option, but
Yeah,
maybe reviewing it a bit more.
that's something that I already explained earlier, but I'm gonna quickly go back to it. So on the reporting, you have your profit and loss, and then you will see here the option budget. So now I've already created a budget for 2026, but you can also change your budget just here by clicking on the little pencil. Okay, so here you can see that Odoo has divided the budget between different months because I included the budget for the whole year. So if you want to change it, you can just change it in this view. For example, 5,000 for the January one, whatever, 5,000, and then you can split here the budget per month. And if you will now filter on a specific month that you can see here, for example, January. Okay, there's nothing in January, but that's the principle basically.
I see. And I think we also want to see how can we change accounts after the closing period.
You want to see how you can change accounts after closing periods? If it's still possible, you mean? That's also something that is a good question actually. So if you go back to your review into your journal audit, that's the first thing that I explained earlier. So if you can see here, for example, the account software has been used. If your period has already been closed, can you then change the accounts, yes or no? The answer is yes. Why? Because it has no impact on your sales tax return. Your sales tax return has been closed, but it has no impact on your VAT, on your specific codes, because you're only changing the account and you're not changing the VAT, the sales tax. Rather, that makes sense. So you can do it.
Awesome. Thank you, Ad. And another question that came up is, does Odoo enable auto depreciation of assets by setting a program or pattern?
Auto depreciation of asset by setting up a program or pattern. You mean by creating, basically when you create a new invoice and you choose an asset account, then you can link that asset account to a specific asset model. Let's go back to our chart of accounts. Let's just take an asset, for example, furnitures. And you can see here an asset account, furniture and fixtures. Every asset account you can link to a specific, here below we can see that it's a fixed asset type, so you can link your depreciation model. In this case, 84 months linear. Okay. And then your specific depreciations and your expenses. So once you create now a new invoice with these accounts, let me quickly do it. You will see that Odoo will create for you, I'm gonna do it quickly, furnitures, this one, the price, 5,000. And once I confirm this bill, you will now see, confirm. Journal items should have a label in order to generate assets. My settings were not really correctly set up. Let me take another one, if that's correct.
But there are, from what I'm understanding, different depreciation models already set up within the Odoo system,
Indeed.
correct?
Correct. I have not labeled. That's the problem. Sorry. So once you confirm this, and here it changed, but normally it should work. Let's do it once again. Sorry. And it's taking step. Voila. An asset has been created. So I think that was basically the question.
Yep. So to answer the question, there's definitely different depreciation assets within Odoo, and it's part of the capabilities. There's a lot we can do with Odoo.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
A lot of is possible.
And keep the questions coming in the chat. I know you show us the filters. Was wondering if you can show us how to save those filters. Maybe you filter by certain settings. You want to make that part of your favorite filters. How do you do that?
That's a great question. So if you go back to a review and you add here some filters, for example, group by account, group by journal, then you see here on the right your favorites. So we can simply add this as a favorite. I'm just going to add tests. And then you can say, okay, let's add it as a default filter. So every time when you open it report, you will see it by default. Let me quickly do that. So I'll go back. I'm going back to my journal items. You will now see that the tests that I just created, filter, will stay by default. Okay.
Got it.
And you can create as many favorites as you want.
Yeah, and that allows you for easy access to the views that you would like to see, and
Indeed.
it makes it quite dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Awesome. As we said, we are here to help you, so definitely keep the questions coming. But thank you, Ad, for just all the insider knowledge. If you guys want to connect with us, definitely make sure that you come to our happy hour on September 1st. We are here to help you. We love to connect with you. Just create a networking environment. Feel free to scan that PR code to RSVP. And also, there's free parking. That's a great asset for San Francisco Bay Area events. We have free parking for y'all. So we'd love to see you there. And also the next day we have the Odoo experience. So that will be September 2nd and September 3rd. If you want to a deeper dive into Odoo and the different features, come join us. Also scan that QR code to RSVP and we'll love to see you there. Thank you for joining us today. It was great answering your questions and hope to see you in the happy hour and Odoo experience.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.